again, everyone. Barry Hyatt here in Scottsville at the University of Kentucky Extension Office with my good friend Janet Johnson. Janet, the holidays are upon us, and we have a great recipe for our viewers today, don't we?
Well, we do, Barry, and in fact, we're going to do a similar recipe, but make it look completely different.
Awesome.
And that's the awesome things about doing side salads. And one can kind of present the salad in different ways, and one could do a potluck service, or one could arrange and make it kind of a piece of art, food art that is, and styling it for your table. So we're going to use the same type of ingredients. We're going to vary again some of the choices, but yet show a formula for a beautiful, beautiful fall or holiday salad, as we'll say.
Yeah.
Because the ingredients are festive enough for the Christmas holidays, as well as any fall holiday or early winter, whatever you're celebrating. It's a great dish there too. So let's get started.
Sure.
Now, if we're going to build a salad, we know that salad greens are the basis. So, and you can vary from season. Spring greens, there are lots of lettuces that are in season, but now we're looking at some of those greens like kales. And there are so many different varieties of kale or hardy green that are delicious in a salad.
Sure.
You need to pick the baby leaves, you know, the big tough leaves that we often think about to add to soups or other things. They're probably not the leaf you're going to do. You're going to look at some of the different young varieties of kale that mix in really, really nicely with spinach. That's another great green that you can grow all season. And so for this particular salad, we're just going to start, and we've got some mixed greens, and one could simply start with arranging a nice bed of greens on a very festive dish of your type, or you could actually chop the greens and include those as a potluck one-size-fits-all in a big dish.
Right.
So that's the first thing that you'll probably want to consider. You know, what do I want this to look like on the table? And I have to admit that my family likes to actually serve the salad and make it look pretty. It's on the plate when people come to the table.
The plate is shaped like a leaf?
This particular one is a leaf. One could look at other colors for the holidays, but odd shapes often enhance food as well. So this one is actually using the leaf and the greens to kind of begin that. As we said before, a potluck dish would be mixing it all together. So we'll kind of do half and half here. Okay. So we'll fix a few of the salad greens over here on this dish, and then we're going to do a little variation. So again, this is a mixture of spinach and kale, and one could have these done ahead of time to be able to pull out for your noon meal or your dinner meal. You could have those in the refrigerator, kind of stacked, ready to go, and you've got that done ahead. Yeah. Okay, so now what we've done is look for the different fruits. Now, you remember our apple contest that we had here. Yes, where we had different varieties of apples, and we actually looked at the apples and tasted the apples, and the clear winner was...
I think, is it this one possibly?
Yes, and
Sweet
a Sweet Tango. Now, my coworker Steve Osborne explains why we love this apple, but why it's so expensive. This is what's called a club apple. That means that growers have gone together in a club to basically figure out how to grow this variety and to name it, an exclusive name. And so a club apple is very exclusive. Not everyone can grow a Sweet Tango. Not everyone's allowed to grow it. That's why when you go to the grocery, this little apple might be $2.49 a pound.
I've seen it as low as $1.75, but still.
Yes, and that's a good price for it. Yes, but the Fuji apple or the Gala apple may be 99 cents a pound, because that variety is not considered a club apple. All the growers can grow that apple. So you make a choice. Now, obviously, with our contest, the Sweet Tango had a great, I call it a sweet crisp. It was sharp enough to be crispy, but it was very sweet and very juicy, and had a beautiful flesh to it. Yes, it did. And other varieties have different taste, and that's the thing we want to encourage you to do when you're building a salad like we're doing. Look at different varieties. Because it's not only, again, the color of the outer skin, but it's going to be the actual flavor that you experience when you're doing a special salad like this. Because you may have very sweet, you may have very sour, you may have a crisp, and you can vary all those textures. Just like we're doing with this salad, we've actually taken a Bartlett pear, but we've used a red Bartlett pear, and then we've used a Granny Smith apple, which is a very tart apple that's often used in baking, and it becomes the type of apple that you can add more things to sweeten it up and still have a little tartness, or it can be a great salad apple in that it's very tart.
Right.
So it can have that texture there too. So what we've done is simply slice some apples so that we could start maybe arranging these apples, and so that we're kind of creating an art piece. When you slice the apples, and I will say, Barry, that some of the recipes will actually encourage you to use a citric product like lemon juice or a pineapple juice to put over the fruit to keep it from darkening. I like to use a product that's called a powdered fruit fresh, and that product is a powdered citric acid. Okay, that's a brand name, but if you look for powdered citric acid, then you just sprinkle that over it. In fact, all of the apples that you see today, I did those apples, let's see, we're doing the program about 4 to 5 hours ago. So this gives you an idea that these are not going to darken when you use that product, and you can do them ahead of time.
That's great. Yeah.
It is great. So invest in an anti-darkening product like the powdered citric acid, and it's very, very good. Okay, so we can take and we can add pears, we can create shapes, and a lot of time children enjoy arranged salads because they're seeing different shapes and they see the fun. On the other hand, we can work with chopping apples. This is the old traditional way that my parents create fruit salad, right?
Yes.
Fruit salad for the holidays. Exactly. It wouldn't be a Christmas table without chopped fruit salad in my household. So you can chop the apples, but it gives a totally different look. And so when you're working with those, usually you're adding most of the things together. Now here we're going to move a step further, and the next thing to consider after the greens you choose and the apple varieties or the fall fruit varieties like different pears is to choose a dried fruit to add a little bit more texture.
Right.
So what would be your favorite dried fruit to add to a salad?
What you have right there.
Well, these are dried cranberries, yes. Now, there are many variations on the dried cranberry, and I'm just going to sprinkle these over. You know, we could easily mix in, and for the chopped apples, what I'm going to do is add some golden raisins to show us how to do the mix here in just a moment. So see, once again, now you may choose to add grapes, but this adds a different texture, and it's a great addition to a traditional fruit salad. So we've got the golden raisins in the chopped fruit. We're kind of arranging the dried cranberries. You know, Barry, I tried recently dried cranberries that tasted like strawberries.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, unbelievable the different flavors that you can now get in a dried cranberry product. I mean, we often hear craisins because these dried cranberries taste kind of like raisins. But you can get all kinds of dried fruit mixtures in a dried fruit. So experiment. Maybe you would like the dried strawberry flavor of the berry. But that gives a very Christmassy red.
Yes.
On the other hand, over here, we're kind of more back into fall, aren't we?
Yeah,
we're back to fall. But we've used essentially a dried fruit. The next great ingredient to consider is to add a cheese. And I highly recommend people look around your region for some of our artisan cheeses.
Sure.
I mean, I talk a lot about Kenny's Country Cheese in our area, just right down the road from Scottsville in Austin Tracy area, and he is a dairyman who makes his own cheese from his own milk. He has so many different varieties of white cheddar that's delicious, a Gouda. I like a Norwich that's kind of a cheddar, but it has a little drier taste to it.
Okay.
But anyway, a good cheese is one to choose. So in this case, I'm going to add some grated white cheddar cheese. Now, I like a very sharp cheese, especially if we're trying to balance the tartness of the apple and the sweetness of the raisins. So we're just going to kind of mix that together there with this one. But on the other hand, with the salad I'm arranging, I'm going to take some feta cheese and make that a little festive. And again, I'm going back to making this one maybe look a little more like Christmas, and this one a little more like the fall holidays of Thanksgiving, or a fall dish like that too. So think about what you're using it for, and you know, how you're going to present it. So arrange or not, and done.
Right.
Now, we're going to make, and I'm going to let you help me, Barry. I'm going to kind of move over some things here. and we're going to make a little bit of dressing.
Okay.
Now, I know that last month we focused on roasted root vegetables.
Yes, we
and
did.
we created a little dressing for those. But this is a simple dressing that you can use any time of the year and just vary. It's an oil and a vinegar.
Okay.
And oil and vinegar dressings are wonderful, especially when we add honey.
Yes.
So oil and your favorite vinegar. You may like good old apple cider vinegar.
I do actually.
You
yes.
know, I really like that too. That's an old favorite. But for fruit salads, especially where you don't want to add any color, you might consider a white balsamic.
Plus, you've already got apples anyway as one of your main ingredients.
Absolutely, yes. Good point, absolutely. So what we're going to do is we're going to start out, because a little goes a long way with an arranged salad, so I'm going to use a couple of tablespoons of vinegar and then a couple tablespoons of oil, so equal proportions. You can make your own dressings, shake those up, create them fresh every time. Don't rely on having to buy bottled dressings.
Right.
They're very expensive for what you get. They're convenient, but they're very expensive.
And you almost feel like you're accomplishing a whole lot more when you do it yourself, don't
Oh
you?
my gosh, and you can put variations to it. Now, I will tell you, recently I went to a farmer's market, actually in the Philadelphia area, Barry.
Yes.
And I've got a great vinegar to try for my arranged salad I'm going to be doing for one of our holiday meals. It is a cranberry pear balsamic vinegar.
Wow.
Ooh, yes.
Sounds pretty cool.
So it has those flavors to the balsamic vinegar, so it's going to be great.
yeah,
It's
sure.
going to be great. Now, as I said, equal proportions, oil and vinegar, and then we're going to add honey to taste. Now, if you want it to be more tart, you add less. If you want it to be more sweet, we're going to add more. So I'm going to put the equivalent of about a tablespoon and a half in there right now.
Okay.
And then I'm going to add 2 spices to this. Now, mustard, honey mustard.
Yes.
Secret ingredient.
Okay,
Favorite
cool.
dressing for everyone. You could add prepared mustard that you have. You could have a Dijon mustard and just add a little bit. You've got honey mustard
Yes.
dressing. But we're going to use a dry mustard here, and I'm going to do about 1/4 of a teaspoon to a 1/2 a teaspoon. And I'm going to be real dangerous here. You know, vinegar, oil, sweetener, honey. We're going to add a fall spice to this to kick up the flavor of the apples, and I'm going to add a little cinnamon to this.
Okay, good deal.
What do you think about that?
I know how much you like cinnamon, so I'm not totally surprised with that.
Well, again, I'm adding a little more kind of sweet flavor to it that we traditionally think of cinnamon and sugar and all those holiday flavors.
Oh, I was going to say, you don't
So-
totally think of cinnamon in the holidays for sure. Yeah.
Nah, yeah, all the time I do, especially baked
Every
goods.
month's a holiday for you.
Every month is. So that we are creating this dressing, and if you didn't like cinnamon, if you wanted it to be more savory, you could add a little garlic powder to it.
Okay, all right.
That'll make it a little more savory. But in this case, cinnamon. And if you really wanted to push the envelope, instead of honey, you could use a little maple syrup.
Oh, wow.
Now think about that.
Sure.
You know,
Makes
so
sense.
oil, vinegar, your sweetener, and the spices that you like to give it just a little flavor.
Sure.
Hey, and we're done. So now what we can do is we just go to the table and we can drizzle the salad on the prepared salad, or on this salad, we will add it directly to the chopped salad, and we will toss so that we are trying to coat as much as we can. Now, you may want to do a little extra salad dressing if you have a larger amount of chopped apples that you can see here, but we're just kind of coating. And again, I'll just lightly spoon some of those on there, Barry. But you can see the difference in presentation. But it's essentially exactly the same salad. But it will look completely different. It will have a little different taste because of the cheeses and the dried fruit we're using to complement. So you can see there. And the final touch, I will say, choose a nut.
Sure.
Choose a nut. Here I have pecans
Okay.
that are definitely traditional to the South, so we shall sprinkle this with a few pecans. You could mix the pecans in this salad too.
Sure, sure.
You could go ahead and add those. Here I'm going to get some walnuts and do a few walnuts on this salad. So different cheeses, different nuts, different dried fruits. Fall fruits are the same. We slice, we chop, depending on what we have. But we have two very different salads that will have great flavor and great presentation, just depending on what you want your side salad to be for your family. So
Well-
it's a great formula for a wonderful holiday salad.
Most certainly. And hey, if you guys want the recipe for this, it's oh so easy to get. You can email me at North Central. My email address there is barry.hyatt@nctc.com, or simply go to our website, www.nctc.com, and we'll make sure it's on the page there for you. So Janet, once again, thanks for all your work on this. I know it was a lot of work, but it's going to pay off, I think, for everybody that wants to try it.
It's a delicious formula to remember for the holidays, and hopefully everyone will have a happy, happy holiday meal.
Let's hope so. Well, thanks so much, guys, for joining us today. We appreciate you watching. As always, take care and have a great rest of your day.